Shalom, Kahalalim La Yahweh, Bahashab, Yahweh Shai, Waharachakurash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of GMS that rule well, who I learned this truth from. And salutations and blessings to you elect out there, starting with 144,000 on down. So this is just a video I'm doing, just sharing ideas and, going into some holistic healing or holistic way of life. So this is going to be my three-day cleanse I'm going to do, and I do this cleanse every year. I try to do it twice a year, but every year for sure right after winter, sometimes in winter, but right after winter in the spring, when you got to get moving, because we gotta move with the cycles of the seasons, right? In the winter you got to reserve your energy. You can't, I'm speaking from mostly Eastern perspective. You shouldn't, I'm not going to say you can't, but you shouldn't exert yourself heavily in the winter, sweating, okay, spilling your seed, in excess, because it's harsh. The elements are harsh. Everything is energetic, everything, there's an energy to the seasons. So when spring comes, you're supposed to move all the sludge, your bile is all backed up, your gallbladder, your gallbladder's backed up, and it doesn't, it's like your bile ducts. You have ducts, these ducts in your gallbladder that they call bile ducts, okay, and they're supposed to produce pretty much a yellow substance, which is slipping my mind for some reason right now, but it pretty much emulsifies or assimilates fat when you eat good fat, right? I'm not talking about trans fat, but anyway, you're supposed to get things moving in the spring. Literally, you're supposed to spring into action. So it's going to be a parasite / liver and kidney, I'll say, not detox, because see, that's another thing, like that's a beautiful thing with the elder Kanak. When he came, me and him had a chance to speak a few times. That elder is very deep, and I've been researching herbs myself for over a decade, and he pretty much raised the great point that obviously your body has eliminative channels, right? Your kidneys, your liver, your lymphatic system. And when those things get clogged up, therefore you can't detox. Your body naturally detox. When we say we're on a detox, it's not really accurate, okay, unless you're, again, doing a parasite detox cleanse. What we're doing when we're doing a so-called liver cleanse, right? You can't really cleanse your liver. You can regenerate it. That's the thing Esau doesn't like to hear or hear you say. So again, this is all informational, educational purposes. This is nothing to do with cures, diagnosis. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm not diagnosing anybody. I'm not giving prescriptions, okay? This is all hypothetical. But anyway, your body has these eliminative channels. You got to clear them up. So you have tonics, and you have cleansers, of course. So you can't say a kidney cleanse or a liver cleanse. But anyway, so I put everything I'm going to do into chat, and I just said, look, nigga, write me a protocol and make it nice so I can do a lesson on it, right? I already know what I'm going to do. I didn't ask Chad, hey, how can I do a parasite cleanse? Because I already did this stuff, right? And for some people, 3 days is not even close to enough. Why I'm doing 3 days, again, in my journey, I've been on weeks long detox before, when I was messed up. I used to be really messed up, all kinds of pains and excessive fat, okay? I'm a brother, I love to do martial arts, and you need a lot of body agility. You need to be agile. You need to have your senses about you. When you have excessive fat, your neurotransmitters in your brain ain't firing off. Your whole electricity, your voltage as a person is low, right? Because we are electrical beings. We have a voltage, right? like in the Matrix, right? He said, look, they want to turn you into this, and he showed a Duracell battery. He said the heart produces this much electric energy, right? I forgot how much he said in the movie, right, in the first one. But so 3 days might not be shit to you. For a lot of people, if you've never done a cleanse, 3 days is nothing. You're gonna need to go on at least 3 weeks, okay, if not months, for a lot of people. Again, I've been going on, my first deep cleanse was I was 23 or 24, you know, and before that I was still through the Spirit of the Lord, through the apostles. Really, I got into the green smoothies, and that shit cleared up a lot of things just from the green smoothie. Just the fucking kale, banana, and some almond milk, unsweetened almond milk. Okay, that shit was clearing up a lot of stuff in my body. But as you go deeper in your journey, you're gonna need many other things, because you don't even know what the fuck your problem is, right? You don't know what your ailment is. I'm talking about when you came in the truth, you were eating like shit. You younger brothers are in a better position, because now you have brothers and elders and bishops and apostles that are already telling you this stuff from their experience, and they're saying, hey, no, you got to get on this health tip. You ain't going to fucking McDonald's. You're not doing this, that, and the third. Okay, but back when we first came in the truth in 2009, 2010, we were eating McDonald's here and there. Okay, we were eating chicken wings. We were drinking beer. We were doing madness. Right, we were giving a big middle finger to the world, you know. Salakia. Anyway, I'm getting carried along. So, again, this is from chat, and again, I plugged this in of what I'm doing, so he organized it how I'm doing it. So day 1 to 3, parasite cleanse phase. In the morning, I wake up. I'm gonna have a shot or a tablespoon of olive oil. Olive oil. Why? It lubricates the bile ducts, right? What I was talking about, the gallbladder bile ducts. It stimulates liver, gallbladder. It primes intestines. So it pretty much oils your engine or your gears, you know, to start. You can add a little lemon. So benefits, supports parasite expulsion, moves toxins, primes digestive fire. So it gets things going, even before you drink your first cup of warm water. And if you brothers are on if you brothers are on these kinds of cleanses, don't drink cold beverages. Okay, you really shouldn't even drink cold beverages in general, because for one, you know, you can think of your digestion as a big furnace. Okay, in the East, in China, right, in traditional Chinese medicine, they call it the triple burner, the triple hormonal burner, I believe. Either the triple hormonal or just a triple burner. But they view the digestive system as a furnace. So if you start putting cold things into your body, you dampen your digestion, meaning less metabolism, meaning less energy, sluggishness, fatigue, bloating, fermentation, parasites. So if you're on a parasite cleanse, you don't want to quench your fire. You want to make sure that fire is burning. You want to take things in like ginger, garlic. Those are anti-parasitic already, because again, they're warm. They're warming herbs. Their nature is warming. All right. Then I drink, you know, warm water, again, warm or room temperature at the very least. Okay. The benefits or purpose is hydration, flushing. Benefit helps move toxins and debris. Okay. Then I have my parasite tincture. Again, you got to do your own research. I'm giving you the generalization of what I'm doing. You can take capsules. For me, I love tinctures. They're more, in my opinion, absorbable, efficient, you know, just much easier and much more effective. That's the real reason. Effective and then easier. And my tincture that I make my own parasite cleanse tincture. What I put in there is 7 herbs. There may be 8. I may be forgetting one, but pretty much it's wormwood and worm seed. They have 2 different actions or benefits. Okay, I have, of course, black walnut hull, right? I have sage, oregano, cinnamon, and cloves. Okay, so that's my tincture. So after that, I take the tincture, Targets adult and juvenile parasites. Benefit herbs like wormwood, worm seed, black walnut hull, clove, oregano, cinnamon work together. It was right down there, so like trying to remember this shit, and it's right down here. Work together to kill parasites and eggs, reduce gut inflammation, and support digestive immunity. After that, I take my my internal tonic, which is the I don't know why it said internal tonic, but it's my liver tincture that I take, and pretty much it's liver, gallbladder, kidney, blood purifier, all in one. And that's the beautiful thing about herbs. It has multiple actions. Herbs have multiple actions. When you have a primary, you usually have a primary, not usually, you always have a primary action, and then you'll have a secondary action, maybe a third action, even a fourth, a fifth, sixth, and so forth and so on. So that tincture consists of burdock root, milk thistle seed, dandelion root, nettle leaf, and sarsaparilla. So again, you have your liver regeneration and protection, antioxidants. You can say detox, I'll use that word, via the milk thistle, dandelion, and burdock. You have your blood purification via burdock as well as a blood purifier, and burdock is amazing at getting rid of uric acid. If you have uric acid, which if you have, majority of us have, because we eat excessive amounts of meat. What does the scripture say about that? Actually, let me get that. Sirach 37:29. Be not unsatiable in any dainty thing, right? Meaning never satisfied. Always an appetite, always a hunger. Nor too greedy upon meats, for excess of meats bringeth sickness, and surfeiting will turn into choler. So excess of meats bring forth sickness. So when you're eating meat, the byproduct of that, because of all the protein, right? You brothers are on all this protein. You got to pay attention too. We really don't need this protein. I know you want to build the muscles, you want to pump, go to the gym, get the big biceps, all right? But when you're consuming all that protein, you have a byproduct called uric acid, and uric acid is inflammatory, and your body got to deal with it. Mainly your kidneys, puts a strain on them, and when it's left unchecked, along with other habits and lifestyle choices, you can get some painful conditions. And by the way, another thing, that one of the best things to get rid of uric acid or high amounts of uric acid is black tart cherry syrup or extract, okay, or juice, right? Really the extract syrup, because it's a concentrated dose of black cherries. Okay, everything is in nature. Everything is in nature. All the healing is in nature. So we have the blood purifier with the burdock and the uric acid, and the sarsaparilla, of course, has the blood purification properties, and it's very good for your kidneys as well. Right? And then of course the nettle leaf we have in the liver tincture, which the nettle is of course beneficial for minerals, right? And it's very dense in minerals, right? If you're making a super natural multivitamin, multi-mineral, you would include nettle leaf among other things like alfalfa, Irish moss, and so forth and so on. But nettle leaf, again, it supports your kidneys, kidney drainage. Okay, so down here, so the benefit, of course, protects tissue during cleanse, supports liver and kidney function, helps counteract toxin load. Because remember, when you're detoxing or you're clearing your eliminative channels and you're supporting your liver to further detox things, because again, the diet is going to complement it. Now with this diet, with this cleanse, I'm going to do an experiment, because I usually don't do this. I usually cut out all meat, of course, all fish, all dairy, no eggs, no goat cheese, no milk, no goat milk, no sheep milk. All right, and I'm on a plant-based fruit. I'll include legumes, like chickpeas or certain things like that. But this time I'm going to do an experiment, because I did the research. I want to try it now, right? I did the research, but I want to see how it makes me feel, because I know how I'm supposed to feel on these cleanses. And again, I have to keep stressing this. I know 3 days doesn't seem like a lot, and really how you would do this, because these things this is a big shock, like depending on how much of a toxic overload you're in, this can be a huge shock to your system. So if I'm just throwing all this stuff at you and you've never been on a cleanse, you got to take it slow, because you're gonna feel like shit. Your cells, dead cells, are gonna be swept away. A lot of excrement from the parasites, from the worms, are going to be they themselves, but the excrement and the filth and the toxins from them, that has to get flushed out, going into your bloodstream, and your kidneys got to deal with it. Okay, so that's a lot. So you're gonna have to. That's why those herbs are in there, the milk thistle and others. So that's my morning routine. And again, I don't eat, and really I might fast completely on the first day. I'm going to see how I feel. And again, it's like I keep striking this nail, it's already beat in, but how you would do this is 3 days on, 4th day is a flush, which I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Complete flush, because right now we're cleansing, we're sending in these agents to help repair, regenerate, kill, destroy the toxins. Okay, help regenerate and what do you call it? Regenerate and help heal the liver and tissues and kidneys, and kill, obviously exterminate, the toxins, or the parasites and toxins, of course. So my mid-morning, I'm gonna explain what I mean by I'm doing something new as well. I know I'm all over the place, Slakia, but bear with me. So there's a green smoothie, what I got in there: kale, banana, blueberry, and I add a barley grass extract, right? Which is highly beneficial. You can look up barley grass yourself, the benefits. So the purpose is fiber antioxidants, moves debris through intestines, nourishes gut lining, supports detoxification. Now lunch, this is what I mean by try something new. All right, I already did the research, and sardines would be a good addition, even though they are meat, they are fish. But again, I'm going to see how it goes, because I've done this multiple times. I've been doing this for a few years now as a routine, tradition. Take into account, I do this. We're actually in the Feast of Unleavened Bread, so that's a big benefit. No yeast already, so that's already been purging. So I'm going to add this little boost, this turbo. Okay, and then in the summer I usually do one as well, and then we got the Day of Atonement, which is a big detox, because that's you're not eating and you're not drinking. That is a huge benefit for your deep cell tissue, down to your cells, down to your mitochondria. But again, you would do this ideally 3 days on, 4th day flush. Again, I'm going to explain that. You wait a couple days, and then you start again 3 days on, and you would do that maybe 3, 4, 5 rounds. Okay, and this is a gentle way for somebody that has a lot of toxins, rather than I'll just put you on a 3-week protocol and you're just crying on the ninth day. You just I can't take it anymore. The diet is just throwing me off, and this is how I would approach it. Brothers got their own approaches. I'm just showing you my little perspective. So lunch would be a warm sardine salad, meaning sardines and olive oil, warmed carrots, scallions or leeks, garlic and grated ginger, and dill. I love my dill. Purpose, protein and warming herbs. Again, we're eating from a warming nature. If I make this salad and I put it in the fridge as a cold salad, that's not going to benefit my digestion, because it's cold in nature. I'm damping my fire, my digestive fire. I want it to burn. I want my metabolism to be on fire. Right? When you're eating food, when you're hungry and you're eating food, you want that food to be going into your furnace and burning up, not sitting there dry rotting, and you got gas and you're fermented and you're bloated and you got to sleep. You got the itis. You know? So the benefit is anti-parasitic, anti-inflammatory, easy to digest, supports digestive fire. Of course, I'm going to be adding as well oregano oil, which is extract. Again, I have the oregano in the tincture, but this is a potent friend and weapon in this fight against these fucking parasites, because this extract, which has something called cavacrol, it's a substance, you can look it up, CAVACROL, and make sure it has 85% of that. Okay, if it doesn't, it's not effective. But again, this is why you take this for about a week. You can take it after your cleanse as well. Keep taking it for about a week to 2. I would say a week, because this thing nukes your in a good way, but it nukes your gut. Okay, but after a while it'll start to knock off the good guys as well, the good bacteria. So you're gonna have to add some some yogurt after your prebiotics and all that. One benefit of burdock that just came to mind is that burdock is actually a prebiotic, and a prebiotic is pretty much something that when it goes into your gut, it's like a seed to create probiotics. So people that that go out and buy probiotics, which probiotics are not cheap, the good ones, the real the ones with the billions of strains, that shit ain't cheap and it's foreign. You can look up prebiotic foods. Banana is another prebiotic food. Okay, so you can eat these prebiotic foods, and that'll create good colonies of probiotics in your gut. Right, so that oregano oil I'm going to take, it's a strong antimicrobial and anti-parasitic support, kills residual parasites and gut pathogens. It's a beautiful thing, great. So after noon is my liver tonic again. So I'm gonna take this twice a day, because you gotta understand, I'm taking the parasite cleanse and the liver cleanse. Not cleanse, but you know what I mean, the tonic. Right? So that's a lot of load, that's a lot of things that are gonna come out. Mucus, parasites, pathogens, microbes, okay, toxins. Right, this stimulates liver detox and bile flow, flushes toxins from liver and intestines, supports fat digestion, complements olive oil flush. Hydration, water or herbal tea. And for my dinner, I'm going to do the sardine again. And the sardines are amazing. You can look up the benefits of sardines. Sardines are very low in mercury because they have a very short lifespan, and I believe they are not deep in the ocean as well. Obviously, they're very shallow. So, they're a superfood, like literally. I know that gets thrown around, but they are amazing. Okay, and I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna see how I'm gonna warm it up. I'm gonna cook it up, warm it up. I'm not gonna eat it out the can like that. But again, through my research, I'm gonna give it a chance. If I didn't think it would do something or it would work, I wouldn't even try this, because, like I said, I never eat meat. And on these cleanses, you shouldn't eat chicken, beef, obviously, these heavy things that slow down detoxing, okay, or block up the channels even more. So again, after that, we take our Parasite, again, the second dose, Parasite tincture, okay, all right, and then before bed, it says internal, but it means liver. I don't know why I'm saying that. I don't have an internal tonic. And then I take either warm herbal tea. I'm not gonna take the smoothie, just water. Warm water is good, because again, warm, it starts flushing things out, okay, your intestine, okay. And then this is what I mean by day 4 of, what do you call it, flush. So I wake up, I take 2 tablespoons of olive oil on the 4th day, right? It stimulates bile flow, loosens accumulated debris. Warm water with lemon. Parasite cleanse as usual, or parasite tincture. And then in the mid morning, I'm going to take activated charcoal. The purpose is why? Absorb toxins, parasites die off, and bile-borne residues. So you're going to need stuff to flush this really out, or else it just floats in your system, stays in your system. Okay, so you're going to have to, you're going to need an absorbent like charcoal, or you can use bentonite clay. So, alright, we take that. Benefit prevents reabsorption of toxins, reduces digestive discomfort. Right, and you want to take that at least 2 hours away from tinctures or meals because it sweeps everything away, even nutrients. You take activated charcoal, it's going to sweep everything away. Okay. And again, you know, same procedure. So again, the olive oil. Here's the benefits. You know, more benefits. So the olive oil lubrication, bile stimulation, moves parasites and toxins, primes digestion, supports liver flush, parasite. Self-explanatory. You know, I don't have an internal tincture tonic. I don't know why it keeps. I think it misread what I quoted. All right, oregano oil. Again, you know, I already read these things. Okay, the liver tonic supports fat metabolism as well, because your liver has a lot to do with the fat metabolism. Anyway, so this is Sirach 38:1. Honor a physician with the honor unto him for the uses which he may have of him, for the Lord Yahweh hath created him. Now let's look up this word physician, right? Healer, period. Healer. Right now they ask you, hey, do you have a family physician? And what do they, what does the physicianist heal in this kingdom? Nothing. He gives you pharmakia, prescription drugs, for life, that give you side effects down the line. You know, you might go on high blood pressure medication, and then you might get diabetes 2-3 years later. You know, this place is fucking bugged out, man. One who practices the art of healing disease and of preserving health, a doctor of medicine. Now we're going to look up this word medicine as well. But down here, from Old French, physician, doctor, sage, right? Physique, art of healing, from Latin physica, natural science. Now what does the word science mean? To know. Natural, not chemical, not in a laboratory. Right now, when we look up medicine, right? What does medicine mean? Medical treatment, cure. Oh, Isa doesn't like that. Isa don't like that. Matter of fact, on natural products, holistic products, supplements and whatnot, they are required by law to put this does not cure, cure, treat, or anything like that. Right? Heal. So you can't say that this concoction or this formula heals or cures this disease. You can't say that, right? Or else Esau comes for you with his different agencies, right? Treatment potion, directly from Latin medicina, the healing art. Medicine, a remedy. You don't get remedies in Esau's kingdom. Okay, you get symptom removal. Verse 2, for of the Most High cometh healing, right? That's why, you know, when I make my things, you know, whether it's for myself or for brothers, I always pray to the Most High that this works and this is successful and the brother's healed, you know, because you can make something and of course it doesn't work. And that's for various reasons, you know. You may be unskilled. You may not know how to extract certain things. Certain herbs require, since you brothers are getting into tinctures, you should know that certain herbs, you got to look up which herb, right? You got to do your research. Certain herbs, they're more alcohol soluble, meaning you need more alcohol to extract the good things that you want from it. So you may need 50 or 60%. Certain herbs need 90% alcohol extraction. Like I have a myrrh tincture, right? It's been sitting for like 3 years. I didn't even strain it. 3 or 4, I think 4. And myrrh requires 90% alcohol because obviously of the nature of it, the resin. It's very thick, so you need a high amount of alcohol, and obviously the dosage is so small, but it's so effective. When I take that dosage, you just feel the blood rush through your body, because it's many things. It's anti, fungal. It's actually anti-parasitic as well. It's what they call analgesic, which is a pain reliever, right? That's why they gave you Hawashai, myrrh mingled with wine mingled with myrrh, right? And you can make wine mingled with myrrh. You just have to soak the myrrh in the wine, but again, the wine won't extract everything because wine is 12, 14%. But just enough to kind of give you a relief, because wine itself gives you pain relief, right? But yeah, you need to know that certain herbs are more water soluble, so they need maybe 40%, maybe 25%, maybe 20% alcohol, you know, or else it won't work. Not how you want it, right? Not how you're researching it. Oh, this herb is good for that. But in that book, do they tell you, hey, to for maximum efficiency, you need to do it this way? Certain things you can. You're an artist. You're creating. You're Picasso. You got your own, um, formulas and ways of stacking things. But certain things, nope. It's very rigid. You need to do it this way. The extract has to be done this way. Verse 3: the skill of the physician shall lift up his head, and in the sight of great men he shall be in admiration. That's the elder Kanak. When I think about this scripture, I think about him. It says, the Lord hath created medicines out of the earth. We looked up the word medicine. So we already know that the hospitals, the pharmaceutical system, that's not medicine. Okay, those are potions, poisons. Right? The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. Right? Was not the water made sweet with wood, that the virtue thereof might be known? And he hath given men skill, that he might be honored in his marvelous works. With such doth he heal men, and taketh away their pains. Right? Of such doth the apothecary make a confection, and of his works there is no end. Right? Like I deal with oils as well. Hair growth oils, beard oils, scents, perfumes. Right? There is no end, because just like a musician, there's no end of music. Even though there's a certain amount of notes, there's a construction of how you construct the notes. There is no end of music. Certain things kind of overlap, but there's always an originality. Same thing with making different scents, because the scents are known as notes. You have your bass notes, your middle or heart notes, and you have your top notes, and you have to know how to stack them properly. Right? The bass notes are grounding, earthing. Things like sandalwood, patchouli, vetiver, frankincense. These are grounding, right? And you keep going and going, and there is no end, because you are the artist, right? You're inspired by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. My son, verse 9: in thine sickness be not negligent, but pray unto the Lord, and he will make thee whole. See? Leave off from sin, and order thine hands aright, and cleanse thy heart from all wickedness. See? Certain people get sick and striped or stricken, like in the book of Job, one of my favorite scriptures. It says the Most High pretty much can put you on your deathbed, and then there's an intercessor, an angel from the Most High, who prays for you pretty much, or intercedes for you, and then the Most High brings you from jaws of death, roughly paraphrasing. You know, to and it says the Most High does this time and time again to humble men, but certain men don't get humbled. I had a hernia. I had it twice actually. From weightlifting. The first time I had it, I didn't know what it was. I it was one of the worst, probably the worst pain of my life, to be honest. I didn't need to go to the hospital, thank the Lord. No surgery, but it took a month for recovery. And the first things I thought about was my iniquities, how wicked I am. And I said, I deserve this. This is good. That was at the forefront of my mind. But certain men, when they get jacked up, they don't even think about shit they did or things they can improve on, or they just think, why is this happening? Oh, I got to do this. I have this plan. I got to do whatever they're thinking. Okay. So this is Psalms 104:14. He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth. And just like you go and get your car serviced, you need to check your brake fluids, your spark plugs. You need to change your oil filter. You need to change your oil, your cabinet filter. Do you need to change your transmission fluid? How are your brakes doing? Right? Same thing for you. What the hell? If you don't service your car, you're gonna hear clunk, 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 all kinds of noises. You're driving and you hear all kinds of noises, just like a woman. Oh, you get in a woman's car and it's making a noise. Oh, what's that noise? Oh, I don't know. It's been doing that for 2 months. And then a week later it breaks down. Or your tire falls off on the highway. Your bearing was jacked up. You don't even know. It always makes that grinding noise when I'm at high speed. You gotta get service too. You know. So anyway, hope you find that edifying. That's my plan. I'm gonna have Lord's will. I'm gonna do this week, Lord's will. Um, and yeah, I'll see the results of that. So that's just my small tidbit. Uh, just some information out there. Any questions or comments are always welcome. So, kahala Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, shalom to the elect.